This is Aditi this side. I'm a leadership facilitator and coach. And today's topic for the expert chat is building resilience. This is a very interesting topic and very much pertinent in current scenario, in the scenario of the pandemic of coronavirus. Everybody has to manage, you know, the challenge, the change, a flurry of emotions, and really get through this phase and come out stronger. Okay, so if I have to talk about building resilience, firstly, let's start with defining what resilience is. And the best way for me that I always find for this is a Japanese saying which says "Nana karobi ya hoki." Okay, and this basically means you fall 7 times, but you stand up 8. Okay, and this is exactly what resilience is all about. If you were to say, take the analogy of a boxing ring. Okay, and in that boxing ring, there are two players, opponents, and the scoring happens in such a way that every time you punch hard, you get a score, and you also get scoring for every time that you are punched and you get back up. So if you have to differentiate between determination, strength, power, tenacity versus resilience and endurance, stamina, this is on the other side. This is all about bouncing back. And in fact, I have an entire course around resilience, which will be starting around August. And it's a very, very vast topic. So today, what we have done is we've just picked up two aspects of it, which is how to balance priorities and manage guilt. Okay. But before that, let me get back to the topic of resilience and tell you, share with you what are the specific variables that can, make you more resilient, and what are the things that you need to do to get there. Okay, so there are quite a few variables we will talk about, and quite a few quick tips and practice that we can do around this topic. Now everybody says that some people say that this particular person is strong, is resilient, or this person is so and so's child, so must be resilient, versus this person has really worked hard through the experiences and challenges that he or she has faced in his life, and how they have overcome it. So my question here is it nature or nurture? So answer to that really is that we are all born resilient. Now, if you go back to the time when a child is born, obviously we do not remember our own birth day as such, but when a child comes into this, planet, what happens is that soon as they are born, their umbilical cord is cut. Okay, and that is the first challenge that they face as an individual, and they are individuals in their right at that point. So that is the very first challenge, and most of the times they come out strong. The second thing that happens, second rudeness that happens with them, is they are literally taken with their feet and held like this by the doctors until they cry out loud. Okay, and that's when their lungs kick into motion. So that is the very first two instances after their birth are the times when they showcase their resilience, right? And those are the most blissful moments for the parents to see their child survive the very first challenge. Okay, and so we are all born resilient, and of course among all the animals we may be slightly softer, but because of our brains we are actually way more resourceful and smarter, and can think ahead, can strategize. So there's a lot more metal that we really have in order to survive. And now that we know what resilience is and whether it is nature or nurture, it is actually both. Okay, we are born resilient, but as we go along, certain beliefs that we start building about ourselves, or certain things that are fed into us, into our system, from our environment, certain experiences that we have, or our own perceptions, or the way we function, the comfort zones that we are in, the fears that we hold, all of these kind of define how resilient we end up acting as we go along. So resilient we are. How we act as we go along could be different for different people, basis quite a few factors. Now, before we get into what are the variables, what are those factors, let's really talk about, uh, why do we need to be resilient? Now, this is a very null and void question, frankly, but it's important to know why are we discussing this topic. The first and foremost thing that will come to everybody's mind is survival. Of course, it is survival, and that's the very first reason why we need to be resilient, so that we survive in this world. But is that why we are here? Is survival the only thing that we are out here to accomplish? No. The answer is no. And there are quite a few things. All of us out here definitely need a certain amount of growth in our lives, right? We want to grow as we go along. And the truth is that even if somebody is laid back enough to say that I don't want to grow, you will grow. You will grow older for sure. So that is one thing that is a given. Now, how you want to grow is something that will require a fair amount of getting back up after failing, trying a second time, trying a third time, falling 7 times, and getting back up 8 times. So that is something that requires resilience for sure. The second thing is we all want to function happily in our lives. We're all chasing happiness in some way or the other, right? And to enjoy even the simple things and be happy about even the simple things, there is a certain amount of resilience, because all of us are dealing with some challenge or the other. It's about whether we put that as a backdrop, or we try to create our backdrop the way we feel like, right? Basis the little joys that we already have and that we have an access to. So that is the second point. So resilience is required. Resilience is not just something which is physical or something that requires a very big challenge. Resilience is on a day-to-day basis when you are able to switch yourself towards a positive state and be more resourceful. That is resilience in simple words. So that is the second. And the third reason, and these are all over and above survival. Okay, that is, I'm not even going there. That's a basic. The final thing is all of us are chasing some purpose. Okay. Again, this is linked to the growth part, but all of us are chasing something or the other. And in finding that purpose, there will be challenges. There is no doubt about that. A simple question I would like to ask you and just take a moment to ponder. Has there been any hero story that you have watched, read, or seen, or heard where there has not been a challenge? So Oprah Winfrey had this very interesting saying. I'm forgetting the exact words, but it was something to the effect of, when there is huge struggle, then there is an opportunity to demonstrate strength, right? And so this is the basic thing. So any hero story or any story where we in the end, we are in the climax situation, we are clapping for the hero or the main protagonist of that movie, is because they have overcome something huge in a brilliantly fantastic way. Okay, so that demonstration of resilience is there in any journey of purpose. So it's clear and that we all need resilience. Okay, if there's anybody who has a challenge or doesn't, all need resilience, because challenges will come and go. So now let's get to the factors that are at play. You know, the very first and foremost, and there are about 8 9 factors that I have in the program as well, which we delve into as different modules of that program. The very first one is awareness. Okay, so you have to have a certain amount of self-awareness on two scores. One is, what are your strengths? What are your good beliefs? Do you really believe in your intention and your action, or are you just attached to the results? So having an awareness of yourself gives you an added edge over somebody with the same strengths as you. Having a firmness in your beliefs gives you that. So all of this comes with certain amount of clarity and a certain amount of self reflection that that person has done, or certain experiences that that person has put himself or herself into. So that is very important, that awareness of yourself. On the second hand, the awareness from the standpoint of what are your triggers, what makes you uh, makes you go crazy, what is your own psychology, understanding yourself from that angle. What kind of a person are you, what triggers you, what makes you move forward. You got to know that as well, because that will lead you to the second aspect. First one will lead you, the confidence will lead you into an optimistic way of functioning, and a way of being attached to your intent and belief and actions rather than being worried about the results. So when you function from that awareness, you will do much better. Okay. The second one, the awareness of your triggers and your weak points and all of that, will give you a way and some reflection. I will give you a way of how to handle yourself in those tough situations, right? It will bring about something called self-efficacy for you. Okay. So awareness is the first and foremost. The second one is adaptability. Okay. There is a huge amount of change, and like I was talking about the hero's journey, it has some change happening for sure. The scenes change, and that's why there is this awe and surprise in the end, and applause in the end. So change is the name of the game, and you need to have that ability to react or respond to it quickly. So the agility has to be there, and uh, to do that, whatever plans you make, plans need to be made, right? When you have multiple priorities to deal with, plans need to be made for sure. You need to have anticipated the challenges as well, and therefore you need to have plan B, plan C, right? And we have many alphabets, so you need to have a couple of backup plans as well, so that when you are in those situations that can shake you up, you've already been there. It's in your muscle memory for you to just get back up from, right? Again, I'll go back to the boxing example. When the practice is happening, at that point there are certain sessions where that person only needs to take punches. You need to practice how to take punches. That is building resilience, right? And a quick tip there of how you can do that on a day-to-day basis is keep trying out something new. When nothing is changing, try to create some change which is agreeable to you. Start small, and it could be something like learning a new language, or just talking to somebody you would ideally not interact with. Okay, it could be anything. So just that newness, keep that aspect of freshness, um, will keep your mind uh, ready for change of some sort. Also, stretch yourself slightly, right? So I used to be doing, I'll take my example actually, because I practice this. I know that I practice this for sure. I love learning firstly. I'm in this field not because I'm love being a facilitator or a coach. I actually love learning. So that's the first step. So which is why. So when this lockdown happened, the example that I wanted to share is that I had been doing these video chats and I've been doing this kind of work, but webinars and courses online is not something that I'd ever thought about, right? But I've launched some programs right now. In fact, they are on Jobs for Her events page. If any of you are interested, please do subscribe to them or reach out to us directly. So so I stressed myself, and I'm enjoying it, you know, because something good comes out of every stretch that you give yourself. You get to see a different aspect of you, and that only makes you more and more resilient to new experiences. Okay? So first one was awareness on those 2 points of knowing your triggers and knowing your strengths, and the second one was agility and adaptability. The third one is acceptance. Now, this is a big aspect of resilience. A lot of times we think that resilience is all about pulling through or pushing your way forward no matter what, or being stubborn or headstrong from some angle. Not exactly. In fact, quite the opposite. Uh, Resilience is about acceptance as well, because only when you are able to demonstrate your resilience, only when you take ownership of yourself, of what's happening to you as well. irrespective of the fact that the trigger is really outside, or the situation might have been thrown at you, or somebody might have been unfair to you. But the point is, you can only demonstrate resilience when you stop complaining, when you start acting, when you start looking at your what you can control and what you cannot. So that acceptance is very important to note. And there are many practices which help us move from the negative frame of mind to the positive frame of mind. So there's something called neuroplasticity. Yeah, I think this is a very cool word these days, and I love it because it's exactly what I do, which is create mind shifts, create new ways of thinking for people. And that doesn't happen overnight. That happens through experience. Because when you experience this, when you get those stars over your head, or that halo shines, or that bulb shines, and your brain creates a new wiring. And that new wiring makes you act differently and gives you different kinds of results as well. So obviously, as kids, you've seen all the kids you will see look resilient. They are fearless. They love new experiences. Anything happens, they are okay with it. They go along. We say a lot of times our kids are so adaptable. We never knew that. In regular situations, they seem like they would have a lot of tantrums to throw, or we're constantly trying to manage them. But no, give them a tough situation and they step up like anything. So the thing is, as kids, it's easier to create new wiring. It's easier to build new, strong, good habits. It's much faster. But as we go along, as we go older, just like our metabolism slows down, a new wiring creation mechanism slows down. But the good news is, it still can happen till your dying day. Okay, so new neural paths can still be created through insights, through new experiences, through self-reflection, through taking in perspective. So that was a bit on acceptance, and trying to accept what's happening and take ownership for your actions and start acting newly, start acting in a fresh manner. um, the next one is mastering your inner game. Okay, and there's another A for this, which is affirmations. So inside yourself, there's a lot of talk that happens, there's a lot of self talk that happens. And the way we talk to ourselves, the relationship we have with ourselves, really affects how we express ourselves to the world as well. Because who is that which is that one voice that will always stay with you? It is your own. And it is your own words which have not even been said. They only have been said virtually inside and heard virtually by you. But the impact that they have on the way you function is very. So make that voice say some resilient affirmations to you. So that's the A I was talking about. The affirmations you say to yourself, and the affirmations that you live by. So talking again about the neuroplasticity bit, if at every time you're going to bed, or every time you wake up in the morning, if you just have a set of 2 3 statements of affirmations that you can say to yourself, it starts becoming the recording that's playing in the background whether you know it or not. So affirmations, and having practices of gratitude, having a gratitude journal, or writing something good that you did through the day is the best way to bounce back, especially if you're in a recovery phase of sorts, mentally or emotionally or physically, right? So telling yourself the right stuff is very important. Okay, I'll give the example of my daughter. uh, so whenever something goes wrong, and she's just on the verge of crying or already crying. She's 4 years old, if you all don't know. So I tell her, no problem. See the bright side. Every problem has a solution. So this is what I this is how I talk to her. So this is an affirmation actually, and I repeat it multiple times. And to my surprise, one day what happened is something went wrong, and she was nonchalant, and she said, "No problem. Every problem has a solution. Let's look at the bright side." She told me those words. So similarly, there are negative examples as well, which obviously are work in progress. But But this is the interesting part, that voice has now become her voice. Okay, so it's very very important to speak the right language to yourself. The next one that I will talk about is seeking perspectives. Okay, so it's very 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 critical to ask for help. A lot of times in our culture, especially Eastern cultures, um, asking for help is like being high maintenance, or asking for too much is like being high maintenance, or it is a sign of weakness. So it's an ego issue for us to ask for help. And I am a living example of that, but I have really worked on this one and completely turned around. So asking for help is the best thing you can do to create your support system. And one of the people had asked this question, in fact, does building a network on the group, it was there was somebody by the name of Maitri who had asked this question, that does building a network really help uh, me be more resilient? Of course, because where are you being resilient? In your environment. So it's the network that is very important. And what kind of network? So what I look at for my resilience, frankly, are my parents. So I really, 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 and a couple of friends. You could look at your spouse, you know, and as you grow older, you could look at your children as well. In fact, kids also end up giving you a lot of good advice or new perspective of looking at things. So that's a very important aspect of resilience, that you need to balance your thought with multiple perspectives of trusted advisors. So they say that if you don't have your advisory council yet, please start recruiting. Get people on board who can give you very actionable cues, or who can point your finger in the right direction, or who can be coaches of sorts to you, right? So it's very very important that these people are right next to you. So a lot of times we end up not asking for help. Why? Because we don't want to hear a no, right? We don't. And then what is a no exactly? A no is a sign of failure. So we are not practicing. So practically we are not practicing resilience. So one tip to do this, to build this asking capability, is to ask. As simple as that. Try out in regular situations asking for very reasonable things which you ideally otherwise would not have. Do that once, twice, hear a no. First time it will be uncomfortable. Or ask somebody for a perspective. And you will be uncomfortable, maybe something uncomfortable is shared with you. Sit with that discomfort. So that's the only way of building resilience. It happens through experience. It is not going to happen through anything but experience. Everything else can only motivate you to push yourself into the swimming pool. Otherwise you were sitting by the side reading a book on resilience, but no, it will happen. Swimming, reading a book on swimming, will happen only when you jump. So that is the other part. The other thing is the ambience. The environment definitely plays an important role in your resilience. And for that to be uh, resilient in a turbulent environment, or a turbulent day-to-day situation, you need to have your certain practices that keep you sane and keep you uh, in a positive zone. Okay, so you need to have your activities which help release the oxytocin that you need, right? uh, it could be a routine that really helps you. Now in the lockdown you have no routine, but I think by now 2-3 months have passed and everybody has figured out their way of doing their yoga, or it could be a walk, or it could be some fun time playing with your pet, anything, or just reading. It could be talking to a friend. You need to have those activities of self-care that you do on a daily basis, to keep yourself prepared, you know uh, in a positive way for whatever comes your way. So that's very important. And finally, I would say one aspect is, among many others, obviously optimism is there, and which was kind of covered in the attitude that you have, attitude of confidence, the first thing that I spoke about. That comes from an awareness of your strengths. So all of that is linked. But very importantly, you need to have a certain sense of connection to something big, which is like, in the beginning I was talking about growth, purpose, happiness, something that gives you all of these. It could be just a very spiritual connection to the universe, or to the nature, or to your clan, or it could be your country, something that gives you that, really moves the boat for you forward. So that connection and that love and that happiness that you get from something, I'm just terming it as spirituality possibly. Some connection to source has to be there, which is unshakable for you, which really helps you get back up. So fall 7 times, get back up 8. Okay, so this connection is what really helps you in that moment to act. The So that's very important. And I think we just have about 10 more minutes. So I've taken one or two questions through the chat, but I'll take a few more. But I just want to also talk about something which is a very handy tip that I wanted to leave all of you with. And it's work in progress for everyone who even knows it, because it takes time to try this out. If you're in a situation which is a huge challenge for you, and it's a time for you to demonstrate your resilience for yourself, for everything around you, and the first thing that you should do is, the first way of your recovery is the recovery process, I'm terming it as, and there are all 4 R's of how to deal with it, easy for you to remember. First one is relax. Relax. And relax doesn't mean you go on a long beach holiday. No, just take 5-10 minutes, a few minutes, or maybe a day off. Just relax. Okay. Second thing is redirect. A lot of times we see people who have made the best masterpieces, or who have given their best performances, or who've sung the song brilliantly, uh, after the toughest time that they've gone through. So they've redirected their negative energy into a positive creation, right? So that redirection is very important. Relax, redirect. Now that you're in a positive state of mind, now is the time for you to reflect. And this is the reflection time, is the time where you are focusing on your talk, self-talk, also getting in perspectives, also trying to strategize on plan B, plan C. What else could have happened? What else could I have done? Being accepting. So this is where you demonstrate your resilience, just between you and the problem, in your thought process, and then you can act it out. How to act it out is to reconnect back to that situation. Till the time that, sorry, I switch into Hindi quite often, but till the time that does not happen, it is all in your mind. And but be rest assured, if you're even doing the first few processes, somewhere down the line you will start reconnecting, you will start acting, because it's playing in your subconscious. That new wiring is getting created slowly in chalk, and it's just a matter of time that in the next situation you will find yourself act very differently or reconnect very differently, because of these other processes that you've done. So this is all that I wanted to leave you all with, and also urge you to attend my program starting August. Please subscribe to it. I also have certain webinars coming up, so uh, please share your interest in that. Um, Meanwhile, the questions that came, one I had answered, the one on network. Yes, very important. Um, the second one was, what are some of the best and easy steps I should take to build my resilience, which I have answered to some extent. And my family, sometimes my family questions whether I should work or not. What should I do? Now, um, this is, of course, it is a big challenge for you. And in this situation, for you to be resilient would be to spell out. Firstly, be aware of what you want, accept your situation for what it is. But what I would say is, over and above everything, a choice to work should be an individual's choice. At max, a situation could be thrown at you, but I would say that at least the family or the people who are with you, um, Ideally, it would be great if they are supportive of your decision, whether it is to work or not. It should ideally be a freedom of choice of the person, right? But yes, sometimes we are in those situations like yours, and you have to ask yourself, tell me one thing: can you pour from an empty cup? Can you pour anything from an empty cup? You cannot. So, when you're taking off in a flight, you put your seatbelt on first. That's not being selfish. That amount of self love is not just your birthright, it is your duty unto yourself to give to yourself. So, on this particular aspect, be very clear of what will make you function more lovingly, more happily, uh, more independently, more satisfying, being more satisfied. How what will make you function in that way, whether it is working or not working or whatever you want to do. But don't make it somebody else's decision. The moment you do that, then the ownership goes out. They need to reconnect in the situation. So try to follow the process and see how it works. Take counsel by people on how you can tackle the situation or reach out. So, but definitely you can handle it through reconnection in a different way, through asserting yourself and asserting is a big part of resilience. You have to assert yourself. First, standing back up after being is an assertion that I'm not done yet, right? So that's uh, that's what I would leave you with. And if there are any other questions, I would be happy to take them. And any other questions that come up, even after the chat is over, or if you have, please feel free to reach out. And questions should be answered. I had a really nice time connecting here, and my apologies. This got a little delayed, but better late than never. I'm glad we finished it today.